One of the interesting things that I find in athletics and in sport in general, but this happens in the international level as well, is how much athletes will sacrifice their own health to get to their goals. And this was highlighted in a documentary a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was presented by Colin Jackson, but it showed how many athletes in track and field and other sports actually were bulimic. And specifically, I think it's specifically in the female version, but they'll sacrifice their health to stay in the healthy weight, to be as light as possible, because they thought being as light as possible for their sport was better, because they're not carrying on around so much mass around, and it's going to be their sport. Apparently, they will advance in their sport if they're lighter as possible, which is a myth in itself. And this was obviously an extreme example, but to lesser degree, you see it in lesser degree in most athletes, and how much they'll sacrifice their health to reach their fitness goals, to support their fitness goals, to get to their goals, overall goals. And one of the things that I find is widespread is the fact that athletes will prioritise the amount of calories they take in over the kind of calories they take in to train as much as they can, because they feel just taking as much calories as possible. They'll say, "Oh, well, burn it off. It's fine. I'm training twice a day, 6 days a week. It'll burn off." Now, the body doesn't work like that. It will burn calories, obviously, but the long-term impact on your health is massive if you're taking in the amount of calories, prioritising the amount of calories over the right kind of calories. Now, I hate the word calories personally. As a personal trainer myself, I have been for 15 years, and kind of walking the walk as being very slim at 42 and having a six-pack at 42 is the obsession about calories. Calories, it's the right kind of food in your mouth over the amount of food in your mouth. It's always. And this is what's pushed the actual bulimic aspect of, is the calories, obsession about calories, the calories in, calories out factor that really, really, it's insidious. It's a horrible, horrible mindset to have, to constantly live your life constantly thinking about calories and the amount of calories to take in, instead of thinking the right kind of food. It's the right kind of food in you is going to support your health, to push you forward. That's what it is, the right kind of food. So what kind of food you put in your mouth is going to support your health, that's going to make you fitter. If you're prioritising the amount of food and just shoveling shit in your mouth, any kind of crap in your mouth, just to support the amount of calories to get your fitness done, you cannot be relaxed. You will feel stressed, and you're probably low of energy as well. Your injury rate will increase. Your gains won't be as much. The gains you do get will be short term. In the long term, it will impact your body, because as your body gets older, take it from me as a 42-year-old, your body starts to ask you questions. As you go further into your sport and further into your training, as once your training age increases, your body starts to ask you questions and say, "Can you stop doing this? Can you stop doing that? Can you stop doing this? Can you stop wreaking havoc on my body here?" And you'll be young enough to put up with it. Right now, if you're 21 or early to mid-20s, or if you're young enough, you might think, "Oh, it doesn't have any impact on my body." Well, it will do. Take it from me. Your body starts to ask questions. And we can stay in a sport longer, and we can start to flourish in a sport longer if we start to look after our health now. And to look after our health, we need to put the right food in our body. Being healthy is doing movements and fueling yourself with the right food that has your body flourishing, has you flourishing throughout life. That's what health is. So this is what it is. And to do that, you need to put the right food in your mouth to do that. And stop thinking, prioritise the amount of food over the right kind of food. If you're doing that, you cannot be relaxed for your sprinting. And as I say again, you will increase the chances of injury. And you really will, your gains won't be as much. It's always the kind of food over the amount of food. So what is the right kind of food? Well, it's different for most people. It's different for most athletes. And this is what I want to get across to you. I probably want to preempt the questions I'm going to get in the comments. I'm going to get, is this right food? Is this okay to take in? What's your opinion about this? Okay, I'll try and answer them as much as I can, but what about trying out for yourself and finding out for yourself? You know, go and explore, because this is what being an athlete is all about. You've got to be curious. If you want to improve in sport, you've got to be curious about, how can I make myself healthier? What is the right food for me? I've got to try out new food, you know, and I've got to try out, is this right for me? And you can only answer that question. You need to go out and explore it yourself. And I'm going to give you some suggestions right now, but I want you to think about, well, think for yourself. You know, you've got to find out for what's right for your body. What's right for me is not going to be right for you. Everybody's different. Every body is different. And this is something you've got to understand. And being curious as an athlete is really important if you want to achieve to your capabilities. You must be curious. As a human, you must be curious. It's all about trial and error. As a human, to flourish in this world, in whatever you do, you need to be trial and error. You need to try new things out. You need to for your own happiness, for your own fulfillment, you need to do that. So don't take my word for it. Work it out for yourself. Get a food diary together. Find out what foods, keep track your food and see what foods makes you sluggish and what makes you, energizes you. And isolate those foods to really do it. And this is going to take time. This take patience. This is what it's all about, I'm afraid. This is what being an athlete is all about. What works for you. It's what being human is all about. What works for you. So I just want to preempt it. Just, try it out for yourself. Don't take my word for it. I'm going to give you suggestions, but don't take my word for it. So what do I suggest? Where do you start in terms of improving your health, in terms of what food you take in? For one thing, you need to start off and then start exploring the gluten area. You need to understand that area is really kind of, specifically as a personal trainer, I know the fact that it's rife, gluten intolerance is rife in the world today. And we don't process it well in our bodies, and it's caused a lot of illness. And specifically, if it's rife in the world today, then it won't be good for your athletes either. For sports performance purposes, we need to make the changes that are going to improve us that little bit. If we talk about improvements to our health, improvements to a sport like that might be like this. So we need to look at the gluten, and that means pasta, bread. Are you taking in those foods? You need to question whether those foods are good for you and energizing you. If they're not energizing you, they're not going to be good for you. You've taken those foods. And specifically, I'm going to say, look at cereal. If you're eating cereal in the morning for your breakfast, please stop. It's not good for you. Please stop. As a personal trainer, I've always tried to eliminate that first thing. What you have for breakfast in the morning or don't have for breakfast in the morning is of utmost importance. You need to support yourself with the right food in the morning to support your mental health and support your energy levels later on. What you have in the morning, actually, in terms of your breakfast, dictates the food choices you make later on in the day. Hormonally, they're very, very important in order to be energized in the morning and have food that energizes you. And cereal is sugary crap. Cereal, in its way, is been shown to suppress testosterone levels, which is hugely important for an athlete, for a sportsman and sportswoman, to have healthy levels of testosterone levels. As I say, even in females, you need to have that small amount of testosterone is very important for females, but for males, it's crucial. And cereal has been shown as to suppress testosterone levels. Why would you do that? If you have suppressed testosterone levels, you cannot be relaxed. You're stressed out. If you suppress testosterone levels, you suppress strength, suppress fitness. And if you're stressed and all that, you're going to have high injury rates. Your recovery is not going to be as good. Testosterone levels are healthy testosterone levels are hugely important for an athlete. And cereal is one of those foods that has been shown to suppress it. And it's just sugary crap. Why would you start the day with a dessert? Just because you can burn it off. That's not the point. It's a stress on your digestive system. And anything that's a stress on the digestive system is going to make you sluggish. Stress on the digestive is ruin your health. It's going to ruin your mental health as well, and your mindset as well. You're going to feel like crap. It might give you a high sugar energy at the start, but then later on during the day, you're going to get an energy slump. It's not the way to start the day. I would eliminate cereal first thing if you want to improve your health. What would you replace it with? Even porridge is better than that. It's not perfect, but it's much better. low fructose fruit, eggs, even red meat in the morning. It's actually nutrient dense. Red meat, it gets a lot of flack in the press at the moment, but it's nutrient dense. It's got a lot of minerals and nutrients in there that's really, really important for you. And also a bit of saturated fat that's going to actually, that's going to help you with the energy levels as well. You need a healthy amount of saturated fat in your diet. That's my opinion. So that's where to start. What you have for breakfast, hugely important. And start there. Question the gluten products that you're taking in. The cereal, definitely get that out. Not good. But also the bread and pasta. Other gluten products that you're taking in that are kind of the foundation of your kind of diet. If you're having sandwiches, can you find a proper lunch than sandwiches? This is what it takes. Can you make a homemade meal that's a lot more healthier than sandwiches? Don't skimp on these things. You know, find the food that's right for you. Trial and error, as I say. Trial and error. Go and find the food that's right for you, and taking the food that's energizing you. One other thing as well is we talk about the amount of, well, shouldn't I take in the right amount of calories? You know, I need to take in the right amount of calories to support my training. Again, it's what the quality of the food that you take in, and the right kind of food that you take in first and foremost. The second thing is to make sure you get breakfast, lunch and dinner's got to be there as well. Make sure that's the case, because of course that's secondary. There has to be a right amount of food in you, definitely, but the kind of food takes priority over that. And eat when you're hungry. Definitely eat when you're hungry. Don't let yourself go hungry. That is hugely important. So you might have to snack in between to take in as well. That's nuts, fruit, whatever is the case to keep you ticking over. But don't go hungry. And once you do that, once you find the right food for you, then your fitness is going to flourish. Then you're going to be relaxed for your sprinting. Then you're going to be healthy. And once health is there, then you can be relaxed for sprinting, and then your fitness will improve, and then you'll get the most out of your capabilities. Support yourself with the right kind of food above the amount of food you take in. I say again, if you prioritize the amount of food over the kind of food, then you cannot be relaxed for your sprinting, and you will increase the chances of injury. That's all. Quite a long video. Hope you get loads out of that. And by all means, if you've got questions, I suppose I'll try and answer them below. If you've got questions, put them in the comments below. What do you feel? Do you have stories about how you improved your health, changed your diet, and you feel more relaxed and energized during your sprinting? Put those down. It will help everybody else as well. And please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because you're going to get information that you don't normally get normally in these channels as well. So it's really kind of unique, the kind of information you get in this on this channel. So please subscribe. It will do you the world of good if you're an athlete and if you're interested in getting the greatest capabilities out of your sport. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.